we asked the question, well, why would anybody want to be a Nazir? That was the question we asked. And of course, the end of the first chapter actually is very ambivalent. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not so good to be a Nazir. But when we get into the seventh Mishnah of the second chapter, we get, at least from Tosafot, who are writing in the medieval times, from Tosafot, we get a clear answer. But let's have a look at the Mishnah first of all. The Mishnah says, and this is now quoting someone who wants to be or might be a Nazir. Hareini Nazir k'sheyeheli ven. I am a Nazir when I have a son. He really wants a son, and he's going to be so grateful when he has a son that he's going to spend time as a Nazir. And the halacha is nolad lo ven harei ze Nazir. As soon as a son is born to him, he becomes a Nazir. And if he issues the vow in that way, by the way, it doesn't work for girls. But tumtum ve'androgonos, there are four genders, by the way, in the Mishnah. A boy, a girl. A tumtum is someone who has neither male nor female sexual organs. And a hermaphrodite, or androgynous is how it is the Hebrew for it, is someone who has both kinds of sexual organs. So there are four genders in the Mishnah. But the Mishnah rules, but tumtum ve'androgynous eino nazir. If a daughter or a tumtum or a hermaphrodite is born to him, he's not a nazir. And the Tosafot asked, well, hang on, why does he do this? This is really the question that we asked when we looked at yesterday's Mishnah. Why does he do this? And Tosafot gives a wonderful example. So, what does he mean when he says, Hareni Nazir k'sheyeheli ven, behold, I'm a Nazir when I shall have a son? Pirush, that means to say, Hoda'ah v'sheva lahakadosh baruch hu. This means praise and gratitude to the Holy One, blessed be He, Shechanani, who has been kind to me, Vezikeni, and who's made me merit, Ve'noladli ben, and a son has been born to me, Hareini Nazir. So I am a Nazir. This is a pure expression of gratitude. And rather than maybe sort of giving tzedakah or founding a yeshiva or doing something else which you might do in gratitude to having a baby son, he's going to be a Nazir at least for 30 years, so he won't touch wine or come near a dead body or cut his hair. And he can, by the way, wish for a girl. Imamar k'she'er'eli veled. If he says, when I have a child, a veled is a general name for a child. K'she'ereli veled, when a child is seen to me, or when I have a child anyway. Afilu nolad lovat vetumtum ve'androgonos harei ze nazir. Even if a daughter or a tumtum or a hermaphrodite is born to him, he becomes a Nazir. What if his wife miscarries? And of course, we know this. It's very interesting. The Mishnah deals with issues which are very, very close to us day to day. Hipila ishto, his wife miscarried. Not Nazir. He's not a Nazir. But the Mishnah, and we might think that's obvious because he doesn't have a son. But Rabbi Shimon, who's very strict on vows of Nazirut, is going to actually discuss this a little bit. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Yomar im hayav en kayama, hareini nazir chova, ve'im lav hareini nazir nadava. Rabbi Shimon is playing on the fact that when his wife miscarried, we don't really know whether was that fetus viable or not. If the fetus was viable, well, maybe at some instant before it passed away, maybe at some instant he did have a son, or a daughter, or a tumtum, or an androgynous. But we don't really know whether this fetus was ever really viable. So Rabbi Shimon wants to cover both bases. He wants the the swearer of the oath to say, look, if it was viable, then okay, I'm a Nazir from obligation. So even though the baby subsequently died, I'm obliged to spend my 30 days with Nazirut. And if not, gosh, I'm going to do the 30 years anyway, so to speak, l'chumra. It's the better not school of Judaism, as my Rabbi Mickey Rosen used to say, the better not. So I'll do the voluntary Nazirut anyway. Chazra v'yalda harei ze Nazir. And if she later gives birth, so she miscarries once, but a year later she gives birth, then he's clearly a Nazir. But Rabbi Shimon is now going to go back and qualify. We see the better not school of Judaism. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Yomar. Rabbi Shimon says, look, he should really say, Ima Rishon Hayaven Kayama, if the first one was viable, Ha Rishonah Chovah, then the first period of Nazirut was obligatory, Vizor Nadavar, and this one is optional because this is not my first son, it's my second son. So it's an optional period of Nazirut. V'im love, but if the first one wasn't, if the first fetus wasn't viable, Harishonah Nadavar Vizor Chovah, if the fetus, otherwise, if the fetus wasn't viable, then the first one was voluntary and this one is obligatory. So we see the, if you like, the better not approach from Rabbi Shimon just coming out loud and strong. And Rabbi Shimon's very strict about possible vows of Nazirut.